got the baby back to bed. Everything is okay now. Back to the Latin Mass. So, where was I? Number 16? Feet of the cross. So, like, I thought this was cool. Way to think about it. The Novus Ordo, it's like, for all of Catholic history, it was mostly, the Mass was mostly just, there wasn't focus on the people. It was like the priest, God, the people, you know, repenting and adoring and giving thanksgiving to God, you know. And now in our culture, this selfishness, like this need to participate, this need for us to like understand all the words perfectly that are going on, and it's not right. Like it's, and anyways, 90% of the people there don't even care about the words. So why would you want your kids there? But like this, what I was about to say was, we're supposed to be like Mary at the foot of the cross, suffering, praying, and crying, and loving Jesus. That is active participation at its fullness. And I really liked looking at it like that, because we're really there, like at Calvary, you know. And she didn't need to do anything but just be there with Jesus, and is more of about our soul and our mind than our physical actions. So no, we don't need to be Eucharistic ministers. We don't need to be having choirs up next to the priest, not even choirs, bands, rock bands up next to the priest. We don't need our daughters to be up there serving. We don't need to be reading. The priest has always read the epistles and the gospel. What happened to that? How come all of a sudden priests won't read their own stuff? They're like, oh, we can't do it. We have to get a woman to do it. It's just crazy. It's for that fake active participation feeling, like to make the Mass about us and less about God. And that's really, it's not the way it was for all of time. It's not the way it's meant to be. So it's selfish, really, when you think about it. We're supposed to be there worshiping and you know, communicating with God, not each other, not this. It's crazy. Not for our entertainment. Why would we have a rock band up there versus a choir back here behind us? Like, anyways. Number 16, the Gregorian chant, which I've already mentioned. And the Protestant songs are lame anyways, compared to Gregorian chant. Like, really super lame. I mean, you walk into a high solemn Mass with an organ and this beautiful, low men voice and super high women singing, and it's like, it's heavenly. It brings you to heaven. It brings the mind and the soul and everything upward. How does a rock band even compare? Like, like if you haven't gone to Solemn High Mass, especially if you live near a big city that has like a cathedral type church, you need to go and experience the most beautiful Mass that you'll ever see. Anyways, and then the words, oh man, the words, if you read what the meaning is in these Catholic songs so much more beautiful and poetic than any Protestant song that you could get. Crazy. And it's like, Mass isn't to be hip and cool. Like, why do we make it like that? And it's not working. Like, for 30 years, we are like, to be what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the Vatican II that was pushing for it, that starts with E. Like, you know, where you include all the other people and try to evangelize. That wasn't the word. Ecumenical, maybe? And then the other one that starts with C. Anyways, we're trying to, like, bring people into the church by becoming more worldly. It hasn't worked. Look, like, since Vatican II, the belief in the Eucharist has plummeted. Since Vatican II, divorce and annulment has rocketed. And, like, everything bad has increased since Vatican II. Since we decided to do this whole, let's make the Mass more like the world in order to bring people in, you know. That's what they did. Let's make it more open and less borders and less, like, basically less Catholic is what it was. So, like, even the Sanctus, the Gloria, all the Mass parts are just beautiful, chanted. I'm, like, finally being, after 8-9 months, able to, like, perfectly follow along 100% in the Missal. It takes time, but it's like, it's only took 8 or 9 months. And how many years might I still be alive for the rest of my life? So, symbols. Okay, so 17. There's Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica talks about these 12 symbols in the Latin Mass, which this is one of those things I didn't actually know about. But there's so much symbolism in the Latin Mass that they took out of the new Mass. Like, when he does "Peace of the Lord be with you," he does the sign of the cross 3 times, and then he drops a little piece, and, you know, I see this, a little piece of the host into the chalice. And the 3 times represents the 3 days between the death of Jesus and then when he rose. And the body into the blood represents, like, his flesh and blood coming back alive. So it's just this symbolic, beautiful thing, and that's just one of the 12 main ones, I guess, at St. Thomas. Another one, he turns around 5 times to speak with the people and during Mass, and these that represent the 5 visits that Jesus made to the apostles after the resurrection, before the ascension. And, you know, and then also another one, the gospel side and the epistle side represents the Jews and the Gentiles. And then it's like this dance where they meet in the middle. And then it represents the Jews meeting together with the Gentiles. And the deacon meets with the priest. And it's like just so much symbolism like that that's passed down hundreds and hundreds, up to 1700 years old, for, like, possibly. And we throw this out? I mean, it might be annoying how I'm putting this across. Like, it's just, I'm so passionate for this, and I'm just, like, begging anyone and the 10 people that watch this video to go to Latin Mass. So, anyways, so go to Mass 5 Sundays in a row. Go to Latin Mass 5 Sundays in a row. Just do it. You'll never go back. I promise. You will never, ever go back. So, the Missal, easy enough to learn. Just read along. So, first, yeah. And really, I became closer to God, partially due to switching over to Latin Mass. And the first few months, at least, I didn't even have a missal. I had no idea what the priest was saying the entire Mass, other than, of course, the consecration. And yet, not even knowing what the readings were, because sometimes I would go to daily Mass and I would forget to look the readings up later. And anyways, babies sometimes have prevented me to even look in my missal. But, I still was drawn closer to God, partially due to Latin Mass. And, it's just, and that's after over 30, I'm not going to tell you my exact age, but over 30 years of the new Mass. And, 8 months of Latin Mass. I pray a rosary every day now, and will, for the rest of my life, till I die. And that is partially due to the Latin Mass. And, anyways, if it weren't for Latin Mass being part of these last 8 months, I would most likely not be praying a rosary, or every day. It's just, in such a short period, helped me grow as a person, and I really believe that it would help you or anybody. Just seeing, this man would lay prostrate, lay on the ground at the church with his children, facing Jesus. I've never seen that, and I understand that might be maybe something that you're not supposed to do, necessarily, because maybe people might, it might be almost to get attention, but it moved me, and I'm sure it has moved others, that kind of reverence and belief that these people have, and it's amazing. So, women dressed in dresses all the way to the ground, 100%, and always dresses and hats and veils, and men in suits with jackets, and it's putting your children in a protection as if they lived 100 years ago, when the world wasn't as crazy as it is now, with all the evil that's everywhere now. So, if you're lucky enough to live near a Latin Mass church, you'll be protecting your children better there than anywhere else, really, genuinely. So, I just said all that stuff I just wrote down. So the 18, in the new Mass, there's a chance of priests tweaking the Mass. There's been many abuses, and corruptions, and zero chance of that happening, pretty much. Because they're just speaking these Latin words from 1700 years ago in the Latin Mass, so, they're coming upstairs.